Welcome to Terminal 1 here in Port Canaveral, Florida, the #1 rated cruise port.
And we're here to do something different today.
We are here today to see if visiting Walt Disney World or any other theme park, but we're gonna go to Walt Disney World, in Orlando would be worth it as an excursion should your cruise ship stop for the day in Port Canaveral.
Port Canaveral obviously can be a departure port, but it can also be a destination port as well.
Especially from New Jersey, New York, sometimes maybe Baltimore, certain ships will stop here for the day in Port Canaveral. We see this with Norwegian, we see it with Royal Caribbean, some really great ships, including our favorite cruise ship in the world, Royal Caribbean's Oasis of the Seas. Now Oasis is docked in Port Canaveral today from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern, obviously.
So as you can see, we are not currently on Oasis or sailing on Oasis.
Unfortunately.
But as Florida residents, we thought it'd be good to kind of like simulate what it would be like if you were coming to Port Canaveral and you decided to pick Disney as your excursion for the day. So we are going to completely stick to the timetable of Oasis today. We're going to show you what it's like and what the times would be for getting over to Disney and what you could experience or accomplish in that amount of time. And then you can decide if that would be a worthwhile experience or excursion for you.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and get it started. Disney as a cruise excursion from Port Canaveral begins right now.
So we are pretty sure that guests coming off the ship are going to exit from this point here in the parking garage. So to make this simulation as accurate and realistic as possible, we are going to wait here until we see a guest come out, and then our time's gonna start and we're gonna head to Disney.
And as you can see here in the parking garage directly attached to Terminal 1, all kinds of shuttle vans and cars, and even on the other side, big charter buses ready to take people on their excursions over to the theme parks, Kennedy Space Center, various areas. And the first guests have exited the terminal.
So time starts now, it is 1:15. Let's go! Okay, let's talk about transportation, because obviously if you are getting off of a cruise ship, you are not going to have a car that you can drive to Disney like we do. This is really important to talk about because this is kind of like a misknown type of thing, that Port Canaveral and Disney are not right next to each other by a long shot. It's going to be about an hour drive to get from Port Canaveral to Disney. So let's talk about your different options. Option number one would be that you could purchase an excursion through the cruise line. Now, Royal Caribbean specifically does have a Disney World option, but as you can see right here, it is transportation only. So this $39 per guest, that just covers you getting from Port Canaveral to the park and then from the park back to Port Canaveral. And you would have to purchase your park tickets separately. Another important thing to note is that pickup time for a 1 o'clock port arrival would be a 1:30 pickup time, and most likely one of those shuttles that Matt was showing you in the parking garage would be what you would be taking to the park. Another thing to mention is that with this excursion, you can pick any park that you want, and it does say that you would be enjoying 3 to 5 hours of free time in the park. Now, it doesn't say specifically what time you would have to leave the park. That may depend on which park that you're going to, but I wanted to point that out just so you would know that it's under what the cruise line decides. It's not your choice of when you get to leave, and that in some ways that's good because then you don't have to worry about the ship leaving without you, but just letting you know that you would be under their schedule and under their timeline. And of course, option number two would be that you could get a cab or an Uber to take you over to the park, where you just reserve that on your own. Now, I did look up the price of what an Uber would be from Port Canaveral to the Disney parks, and it would be about $100 for a 4-person sized car. So obviously that's going to be a decently amount more expensive than the excursion through the cruise line, especially since the $100, that's just for one way. So you'd have to pay that to get back to the cruise ship as well at the end of the day. But it is an option for you, especially if you want to take more liberties with your time and make more of the choice of when you would get to leave the park. I will say, if you do go with the Uber option, I recommend booking that while you're still on the ship. Don't wait until you're off the ship and then reserve it. I would schedule it before you get off the ship, so then you're kind of saving some time that way. Look at the sign, look at the sign, look at the sign, look at the sign! Yay! Welcome to the most magical place on earth! We won't keep you in suspense any longer of what today's park is. Today, we are going to the Magic Kingdom!
Alrighty, there's that one.
All right, time check. It is 2:40 p.m. and now, of course, we had to park in the parking lot and take the tram here to the Ticket and Transportation Center. If you're coming via provided transportation, Uber, Lyft, or something like that, I do believe you'll be dropped off over on that side. Now, here is where you would actually purchase your tickets, or if you have a will call pickup situation, because you purchase your tickets ahead of time, you will grab those here before you actually head across Seven Seas Lagoon to the Magic Kingdom. Now, one thing that's important to point out is you probably do want to consider, especially right now, buying those tickets ahead of time. Now, there is no refund or rain check if there's inclement weather, so that's something to consider. But right now, Walt Disney World is utilizing a park reservation system, and so you must have a park reservation for that day. And in order to make a reservation, you must have a ticket. When we just came through to the parking lot, it said there were no more reservations available for today. So if you just showed up right now, you wouldn't be able to buy a ticket, make a reservation, and get into the park. So that's something to consider. Now, we mentioned heading across Seven Seas Lagoon to the Magic Kingdom, because that's the special thing about Magic Kingdom, is that the entrance to the park is not actually anywhere near the parking or the transportation or anything like that. Ooh, 50th celebration monorail.
Hey Maggie, looking good.
Look at the colors. Chippendale too, what? So now you have to make your first decision of the day. Monorail, the aforementioned, or the ferry boat. We tend to like to stay nautical, especially since this would be in place of a cruise excursion, right? Head to the high seas.
Just keep in mind that, like, it doesn't matter which one you do, it's probably gonna be like a 15-minute tack on for you to actually get to the park.
And what a happy circumstance for us. The ferry boat is here, ready to go. And at 3 o'clock on the dot, literally on the nose, we are in Magic Kingdom Park.
Welcome to Magic Kingdom!
Let's go have some fun.
Please welcome our honorary Grand Marshals, celebrating their family anniversary.
If scheduling stays consistent and you get here right at 3 o'clock like we did, you can catch the parade. awesome was the Festival of Fantasy Parade?
Okay, so that was the first time we have seen a Disney parade since parades came back, since COVID, and it was really nice. That was in a spot. It had been a long time.
Our first attraction of the day, Spooky Time, one of your favorites. And I wanted to take this time as we walk over to the Haunted Mansion, of course what we're talking about, to talk about Genie Plus and Lightning Lane. So we're not gonna get into huge detail with it. If you want more information, we do recommend checking out some of our content creator friends channels like Kyle Palo or JoJo's World.
Yeah.
They do a great job with all that stuff. Check them out and they can give you the details. But basically, it's a paid additional service to give you a Fast Pass. They don't call it Fast Pass anymore. It's called Lightning Lane. So anyways, we bought that for today because we think you're already on limited time, you want to maximize as much as possible. $15 per person. So when you added tax on it, was like 31 change for both of us.
And it's for limited rides and limited character meet and greet. So we just wanted to let you know that we're using that today to maximize our time.
Appeared in their corruptible, mortal state. Kindly step all the way in, please.
You can never go wrong with the Haunted Mansion.
No, I feel like you have to do it. It's like a rule. And if it's not a rule, it should be.
Let's spice things up a little bit. Let's head even further back in time from the colonial era here in Liberty Square, back to the wild frontier. And this is why we're spicing things up, because it's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Cause this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness!
For you. Is our next stop Nugget Way? Instead of nuggets of gold, what if Nugget Way was like a mine of chicken nuggets?
Oh, well, you're the prospector.
I would go.
In for a quick beverage to make sure we stay hydrated because it's very hot today. And speaking of food and drinks, we would highly recommend you eating, of course, before you get off the cruise ship, especially if you're like on the Oasis schedule where you're, you know, getting off around 1 o'clock. You can grab lunch before you get off board and you can eat for free on the ship, and then you'll have to use less time to actually eat while you're here at the park. So just a good strategy to employ. Try to maximize your time since you have so little to begin with. Let's go for a classic for our next one. And only 5 minutes, which is a rare sight in these parks these days.
Up position. Thank you.
And away we go! We're flying low.
I'm trying to get it to go up.
We're bouncing.
It won't go up. Oh wait.
Come on, Dumbo.
Come on. Our Dumbo is faulty. Oh wait, here we go.
We need the magic feather.
Those ears were slacking, but they're flapping now.
To make Dumbo fly higher and hold the lever in the
sky ride. Oh, and if you look, a sneak peek of the newest attraction coming to Magic Kingdom. More on that later. From one classic with a 5-minute wait to another. Now you might be wondering, we mentioned the Genie Plus and the Lightning Lane earlier. Why are we continuing to do standby lines? And the reason is because other than certain exceptions, again, we're not going to get into all the details, but for the most part, you can only have one Lightning Lane entrance at a time. And so because of the availability of those, we're kind of having to wait for that to become available and the timing of certain things. So what we're trying to do is get those Lightning Lane entrances and then hit standby lines that are a little bit shorter.
So basically you say you're not going to walk on to every ride regardless of what you buy or pay for.
And entered the world of tomorrow, or the land of tomorrow.
With Jupiter. Is that Jupiter? That looks like Jupiter.
Sure.
We're saying it's Jupiter.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
This is the ride I've been wanting to ride the most because I want to see the Tron construction.
That's right, Tron.
This is going to be the best view we're going to get of it. I'm excited.
Light cycle run, baby. It is coming. I like that. Oh my good golly gosh. Look at Tron construction.
What's insane? It's like, are you done? I mean, I know you're not done, but you look done.
It's gonna be so fast, so awesome.
Okay, actually, the closer it doesn't look done at all.
No, not at all, but it looks awesome. At night, oh my gosh, this is gonna be amazing.
It's gonna have night aesthetic!
Trademark, Pumpin' Heavy Joe.
At Disney!
Look into your future and you'll find
The real wonders of
Remember when I said on the People Mover, I'll look into the future? This is what I meant. It's our next Lightning Lane. Let's go.
Rocket to participate in this launch.
Times like this, it's nice to have the Lightning Lane. Let's go. Here we go, one of the most pointless rides to film because it's completely dark. See? You guys can't see anything. Pitch black in here. I could literally just be filming the inside of a backpack right now. You'd have no way of knowing. No way of knowing. Just remember, kids, it all started with a mouse. Well, that actually worked out pretty cool for us because it was always a tradition when we were growing up and we would come here that we would end our night with Space Mountain.
And while we can't stay here for nighttime, it is going to be our last ride of the day. So, holding to tradition, which I like. And in a blink of an eye, it is time for us to go. So, with the ship leaving at 9 o'clock, we kind of estimated that all aboard would be at 8:30. Usually it's 30 minutes before. So we decided to play it safe, as we would if this was a cruise excursion. We decided we would leave at 7, so then that would give us an hour and a half, 30 extra minutes to get back to the ship. Bye, Magic Kingdom. Mwah.
2 kisses? One for me, one for Jan.
One for Jan. Let's recap what we were able to get done in our about 4 hours. Got 6 rides done. We saw the whole parade.
Festival of Fantasy Parade.
To be specific. And we saw that little cavalcade great thing.
Yeah, Mickey's Celebration Cavalcade. Not as specific, because I'm not sure on that one.
But, I mean, for a very limited amount of time, I'm pretty happy with what we got in today.
I would say it was more than we thought we'd be able to do.
I
honestly
agree with that for sure. Hey Matt, are you nervous we're not gonna make it back on board in time?
Yeah, because I don't want to miss Aqua 80. Holy shnikes, they are doing Aqua 80.
What are the chances?
Well, let's get a closer look.
Well, as you can see, we made it back here in time. So our timing worked out good, and we wouldn't have missed the ship today, so that's excellent.
That is excellent. And, you know, just a couple of final thoughts here. Obviously, we did this for Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World today, but you could do this with any of the other 3 Walt Disney World theme parks or their water parks. You go to Universal, Islands of Adventure, Volcano Bay, SeaWorld. There were options for all of those with Royal Caribbean for the transportation, so something to keep in mind.
Probably the question that you guys are probably asking, do we feel like it was worth it if you were in Port at Port Canaveral today? The way I feel about it is probably not for what you would have to pay for a park ticket. So a Walt Disney World park ticket, it varies from day to day, but it's gonna be like around $120 per person. For 4 hours in the park, that's a hefty penny to pay for that amount of time. Even though I'm very pleased with what we were able to accomplish today, and if you have an annual pass and you know happen to be stopping at Port Canaveral, like sure, go ahead. You know, I think that could work. But for paying for a single day ticket and only getting 4 hours out of it, that's kind of hard.
Yeah, we do agree that if you weren't coming on a Royal Caribbean ship, if you were coming on a Norwegian ship, they usually stop from 7 to 7. So that's a lot longer. You could almost make a full 8-hour day at the park. I think that's more worthy of a discussion. I could see that.
Yeah, but Royal Caribbean is kind of shorter port days. It's either going to be like around from noon to 8 p.m. or what we did today, 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. So that makes it a lot harder.
Yeah. We had a ton of fun though, and I mean, it's one of those things, if money's not an issue and you just really want to go to Disney or go to Universal or whatever, do it. We had fun.
Yeah.
You can definitely go and have fun. We would not recommend trying to make this someone's first trip.
No, just because you are not going to have a full-bodied Disney experience today because it is so fast-paced and so such a short amount of time. So I wouldn't have this be your first ever Disney visit in that time frame. But if you've been before and money's not a huge issue and you just want to get off the ship and have a few hours at Disney, like yeah, sure, have fun. I do recommend if you do decide to do it though, just do it through the cruise line. Do that transportation. It's going to be cheaper. They can help you with time management and stuff, and then you don't have to worry about missing that old beautiful ship over there. But you know, you definitely have to weigh what works best for you. But that's our thoughts. I hope what we showed today helped you decide if it would be a viable option for you and kind of gave you an idea of what the experience would be.
Absolutely, and if you are interested in coming on board that beautiful aforementioned ship, Oasis of the Seas, another fine Royal Caribbean vessel, maybe one of those Norwegian ships that stops here in Port Canaveral or any other cruise for the most part, we can help make any and all of that happen. As travel agents, it would be our pleasure. Our services are completely free to you. We never charge a penny whatsoever, and your price will not increase at all to book through us. So we would encourage you to reach out via the travel agent information. You can find it in the description of this video. We'd love to help with your sailing. And if you've recently booked your Royal Caribbean cruise within the past 30 days and you have not paid in full, you can transfer your booking to our agency. We'll be able to help you the rest of the way. That is completely free as well. So we hope we will hear from you soon. Want to thank you for joining us for today's video, but we're going to sign off. We'll see you next time.
Happy travels!
We're going to go watch Aqua 80 some more.
Let's go crazy.
Let's go nuts.